Anybody? Yay! I froze for a second. It freaked me out. I thought something was going to go wrong. Oh, I'm so glad that everything's working. Hello. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you all here. It feels like it's been such a long time since I've done a live session, so I'm really happy to be here. Ah, love from wintry Australia. It's warm and hot here. You're having your winter solstice, and we're having our summer solstice. Welcome. So good to see you too. So for those of you who have never attended this ritual that I love to do, I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy to be offering this program today. I've been offering programs for the equinoxes and solstices for a really long time, maybe 10 years. And only during the pandemic did I start to do them online. And I wasn't ever sure how they would translate, but I actually think it works. And it's one of my most favorite things to do because it connects us all in a community. And I think it's a beautiful practice that we can do not only for ourselves, but also for the earth, for the planet. And with all the different things that are going on in the world right now, this is a very fiery, tender, very challenging time. And I feel really happy that we can come together to do this practice today, because I think it's very relevant and very healing. And at least it is for me. So thank you for being here. And usually I offer this program before the solstice or on the solstice, but this year, this season, because of some scheduling things, I had to do it a little later. So we're just a little past it, but we're still in the range. So any moment is a moment to honor the earth and honor the cycles of nature. So it's never too early or too late. But I just want to acknowledge that the actual solstice happened on the 21st at 5:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we've actually gone beyond. We've passed the solstice now, but we're going to celebrate it nevertheless. So if you don't have a glass of water, if you could just get a glass of water. If you don't have a glass, you can just put it in any vessel, and just don't drink it yet. Just put it aside or keep it there, and this will be the water for the ritual. We won't be using it just yet. So I'm going to begin with my invocation that many of you know I always start with. And it's just a way of acknowledging that we're here, that we're all choosing to be here, and we're going to cross the threshold into whatever this experience is that we're going to have, like stepping into the heart. We're going to mark that with a prayer, with a song. So you don't have to do anything except to just be here and really just try to take a moment to just let go of whatever you may have arrived here with. We're all running so fast, and we need to let go of our burdens. So let this be a moment for you to just be here, let go of whatever you may be carrying, and just let's all commit to have a beginner's mind, an open mind, open heart with no agenda or expectations, just openness. It is reverb.
I mold my love guntanati Tejo mayunashtiki Snegdha upangavidakinim bhagavatim Mandasmidashrimuki Vatsayam natavarshinim sumaturam Sankirtanalapinim Shamangim madhusitasutim Amritanandatmika Ishwari Om Amriteshwari Namah Om Amriteshwari Namah Om Amriteshwari Namah Ananta samsar samudratara Nakaitanyam Guru Bhakti Davyam Vairagya Samranjata Pujanapyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukapyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukapyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukapyam Namo 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 Namo
Take a breath in, hold for a moment, and then just exhale and release through your whole body. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. I don't know if you can hear, one of my neighbors is mowing his lawn. I can hear it. Some of you may have seen my my session for the self-care summit. I went through so much trying to make that video. I can't tell you. There were so many technical problems. And I'm only laughing because I finally got it right. Everything was set, everything was right, and I was like 40 minutes into the video. And then one of my neighbors started making so much noise with blowers, leaf blowers, and lawn mowers, and I almost lost my mind because I had to scratch, start from scratch, and it happened so many times. I did it after so many times. I was like, anyway, so that was a very interesting experience. I don't know if any of you are familiar with, in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, there was a wonderful, great Tibetan yogi. His name was Milarepa. And he had a teacher, a guru named Marpa, and Marpa was always challenging him, and he would give him the task of making him build all of these towers, and as soon as he had built them, he made him knock them down, just to test his level of detachment and fortitude. And if you can imagine, putting all of your heart and energy into something and then just having to knock it down, obviously making the video was nothing like that, but it reminded me of that, just continually like trying to do something and then feeling like, oh, it's not working, and then just what I had to learn from that process. It's always about, learning. Hopefully something good comes out of it, but I just was laughing as I was finishing up and heard the lawnmower. So it's like we wait for the perfect circumstances, and this world is always shape shifting, and we have to just move through it without, that perfection is not going to come. And just let it be raw, let it be messy, let the mower be going, and it's all fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're here authentically, from our heart to have this experience together. So thank you so much for joining me today. Like I said, I really, really love to do these rituals, and this water ritual is something that I've just created over the years. And to create it, I've drawn on just different things that I've learned from different teachers that I studied with, and different things that I've explored over the years to create this journey that we'll be sharing today. And I think it's amazing. We're living here on this earth, and we've become very divorced from the earth. And that's a major problem. And it's reflected in so many, areas of our lives. Most especially, I think, feeling exiled from our own home or our own heart, because we're disconnected from our actual home on this planet. But the beauty of connecting to the cycles of nature is that I think it starts to help us connect to that again and remember that we are, these beings dwelling on this planet. We are a part of the web of life, and the great mother of the earth is our refuge, and we are a part of her. We are a part of that. So 4 times a year, we have these cosmic alignments that happen. They're like portals, and these alignments have been happening obviously for time immemorial, and cultures all around the world have been celebrating and acknowledging these portals for thousands of years. I always talk about this when I do this program because I just think it's incredible, that we can be a part of that stream, of these practices that have been going on, these rituals that have been going on for so many thousands of years. And there are all of these sacred structures all over the earth that were built to be in alignment with these cosmic moments that happen, whatever it may be, whether it's Machu Picchu or the pyramids that we can go on, Stonehenge, so many different places that were created. Who knows how? It's a complete mystery how these structures were built, but they were architecturally designed so that they aligned with these moments in time, the equinox when day and night are equally balanced, which happens in September and in March, and then the solstices, the darkest day of the year and the longest day of the year. So many of these structures were built so that the light filters into these places in a very just specific way at the exact moment of the solstices and equinox. And if you start reading about it, at least I can kind of just go down a total rabbit hole. It's just, it blows my mind every time I read about it, the way that people created these things, how they knew how to align things just right at the perfect degree so that it would line up with that. So I think that that's amazing, and I love to be together to practice and to acknowledge this, because it's like we are a part of that stream. It's easy to think about these things as something that happened long ago and far away, but it's not. We're a continuation of that. Just because we live in a world or a society and a culture that is divorced, that has divorced itself from those cycles of nature, that has divorced itself from the idea that this life and world is sacred, doesn't mean that we have to participate in that. We can make the decision to live in a different way with an acknowledgement and an understanding that there's more going on here than our consumer culture would tell us. That nature is a mystery and we're a part of that. And by connecting to it, we have so much to benefit. Not only is it nourishing for us, but it's actually helpful, for the healing of this world. So I don't think, we all know that we're living in pretty dire moment, and there's so many prophecies from different cultures and different people talking about these times, that we look around and we see what's happening with, the glaciers that are melting and all the natural disasters and so many things that are going on. And it's very distressing. And I think that we all feel that in one way or another, even if we don't realize it. I remember, I think I may have told this story once, but one time when I was in India at my teacher Amma's ashram, somebody asked a question about depression, about being depressed. And granted, when anybody asks a question to her or to any master, the answer that teacher gives is for that person. So, You can't just necessarily say that it's for everyone, but I'm sharing it because it really struck me. The person said, I'm really struggling with depression, and, can you shed light on this depression or whatever? And I was really fascinated because Amma's answer, she was talking about the environment and how the environment, the degradation of our environment is affecting all of us in ways that we probably don't even realize, affecting our psyche, affecting our heart. We see and witness these things that are going on in the world and on our planet. Of course, it impacts us because we're a part of nature. It's just that we think that we're separate. So that lie, that illusion of separation, it causes us a kind of pain, I think, like an existential pain that we're almost not aware of, but it's like an ambient noise in the background. I call it an ambient angst. It's like that feeling like something's buzzing in the background. You can't quite get it to stop. That little noise going on, whatever it is, it's like a little splinter. It's just a little something discontent, Maybe you can relate to that. That little splinter of discontent, I think, comes from living in this world that is so much out of balance. When you live in a world where nature is treated as a commodity and not something that's sacred, when there's a lack of reverence, everybody suffers from that. So the reason that I think that this practice of this ritual is valuable is because it helps us to shift our view and our perspective on things. In the Buddhist tradition, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Four Noble Truths, which are the teachings that when the Buddha attained enlightenment, the first teachings that he shared were the Four Noble Truths, which are essentially suffering exists, which we may think that's a real buzzkill, but it's not. The teaching on suffering is so helpful because he was articulating what we all already know but don't want to acknowledge, which is that something feels off. So he named it. It's like he named the elephant in the room. And he basically said, until you admit your suffering, you're not going to do anything about it. So the first step on any journey of awakening is to admit the truth, which is that I'm not happy. I don't feel peaceful. I don't feel right. Suffering is going on. Only when we know that can we do anything to change it. So he said the first noble truth, suffering exists. It has a cause. That's the second truth. The third is the cause is desire, attachment. You could go into that very deeply, but that's essentially what he was saying. And the fourth truth says that there is a way out of suffering. There's a path to become free. And that path is what he called the Noble Eightfold Path. That's a whole conversation in itself. But the Noble Eightfold Path has 8 different kind of tenets to it. And they're not really meant to be in a hierarchy, but they're all kind of equally happening at the same time. But usually the very first tenet, the very first principle of the Noble Eightfold Path is right view. And I think that's really important because what the teaching is saying is that we need to be aware of our view before we do anything. The way we're looking at something, the way we're thinking about something, because it influences everything. The way that we view anything affects the way we think, the way we feel, the way we act. So we have to check our view. And when it comes to this world and what's going on, if we're not aware of how we're viewing this world, of how we're perceiving things, it's going to influence the way we act. So we can try to do all the things, to live in an environmentally conscious way. We can try to design all kinds of different technologies and on. But if we don't really make the effort to recognize that this earth is sacred and that we are sacred, that actually what we could call the divine or God or love or whatever word you want to use, if we don't realize that that is infused in everything in creation, then it's hard to make a fundamental lasting shift. Everything we're doing is kind of like just cutting the weeds with scissors instead of pulling it up from the root, if that makes sense. So our view is really important. And even though a ritual like this is just a very seemingly simple ritual, over time, the more that we do it, the more that we can start to see, this thing that I am involved with every day of my life, I can actually realize that this is consciousness. This is alive. This hears me. This receives imprints. This is affected by my thoughts, by my words, and it can affect me, and it can affect the world. So that is a major shift in consciousness that we can have that has a lot of ramifications. So I think that's one reason why a practice like this, and of course there are so many practices we could do, but are so important. It's our view. We're going to the taproot and wanting to shift the way that we see reality so that it's more sacred, so it has more reverence and more respect. And when we respect the earth, we respect ourselves and vice versa. This is something that I really learned from the Mamos, who are shamans from Colombia, whom I've mentioned many times. I studied with for several years, and they live very, very deeply connected to the earth, the mother, they call it, in a way that I've never experienced before. They truly speak the language of Mother Nature and can hear rocks and trees and water, what's being communicated, and be in a relationship with that. It's very humbling to witness that. But one reason why I wanted to bring that up today is because, this is obviously, for those who are living in the States, this is a very intense moment in time. I'm sure most of you know that then there was just the Roe versus Wade was overturned, which is removing women's constitutional right to have an abortion. That's a huge subject, and I don't want to go too far into it, but it's very, very distressing. It's very upsetting to see this piece of legislation changed after 50 years, which feels like really going back in time, stripping women of their rights to decide what happens with their own body. This is very, very upsetting. I actually, like so many people, are very upset by it and thought, I have to, how am I going to work with this charge that I feel to offer this session? Because it's a very deeply charging thing. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which I'm sure if any of you have read his material are familiar with that teaching. Every person has what's called a pain body, which is all of our emotions and, feelings and experiences that we have not that haven't been expressed, that haven't moved through us. We experience that as like a pain body within ourselves, unprocessed trauma, things that we've inherited that have been passed down through generations. But there are also collective pain bodies, for different groups of people who've been through many different types of wounding and trauma. So you could say that women, collectively, there's a female pain body, which he speaks about in great detail in his books. And so when something like this happens, which is stripping women of their right, their constitutional right, it sparks that pain body that all women are connected to. I want to acknowledge that obviously gender is a spectrum, it's fluid, and woman and man are not just in a box. We know that. I'm just using the word woman just for the ease and simplicity of this conversation, but I want to acknowledge that. But so that really pricks that pain body. And I think it's so relevant to the conversation about the earth, about nature, because there is such a deep connection between the way that we treat the earth and the way that we treat women. It's very emotional. It's very hard to talk about it in a very, it just feels very deep. When we look around at the way that we treat nature, that nature is desecrated, nature is abused and treated like a second-class citizen so much of the time, we can see that this is very much mirrored in the way that women are treated. I mean, the fact that this is happening now in 2022 is horrifying, and I think it's also important to acknowledge that there are many places in the world where women don't even have the right to an education, where there are places in the world that are still treat women very savagely. This is a reality. This is very, very real. And as women, we all feel this. And men are also affected by it. Everyone is affected by this. Everybody. Everybody feels this. Everybody is wounded by this. So one thing, when the Mamos, the last time I saw them, they said something that was so striking to me that I shared in a post that I wrote, which was that when women are treated with respect, they said the waters of the earth will be healthy and clear. And when women are not treated with respect and honor, the waters will be sick. It was so strong. It was so striking to me. They also said that when men stop fighting with one another, the forests will be healthy. So in their worldview, there is such a deep correlation between how we live, how we treat ourselves, our own bodies, one another, and how that affects the planet. And that correlation of the feminine with water, is something that, when we think about the feminine principle, obviously that feminine principle is often associated with water, that kind of fluidity, that intuitive qualities of water, are often associated with the feminine. I don't mean man, woman, I mean the feminine principle, which is in man and woman. So that really struck me. And I see that, being mirrored so much in what's going on in the world. And I think the deep pain of what's going on, not only does it just feel completely, it just, everything about it just feels wrong to strip women of these rights at this time. Everybody's free to make their choice about whatever they wish to believe, pro-life, pro-choice. Everyone is free to have their own opinions about that. But to legislate that, to take women's empowerment away to make these choices, especially knowing the communities that will be particularly impacted by this. People who don't have money, minority communities, people who don't have access, who will have to travel far, who may have a lot of difficulties and health problems as a result of this. It's really upsetting. When I was in college, I volunteered at Planned Parenthood. And part of my job there was to sit with the women before they went in and had procedures done. And it was very tender work, because nobody wants to go through something like that. It's very difficult to go through that. Nobody wants that. So anyway, it's a really loaded conversation. But the reason that I'm bringing it up is obviously because it's just in the air and it's very present right now, but because I think it's directly connected to this conversation about nature, this conversation about the earth. When you live in a world that doesn't recognize the sacredness inherent in creation, and especially that sacredness in the feminine form, that's a problem. Because we don't see that sacredness on the planet either. And we're destroying our home. We're destroying our home. And I was thinking about it, that the idea that this law, this piece of legislation could be revoked, many people knew that it was a possibility, but it sort of seemed like, how could that actually happen? But then it happened. That doesn't mean it's going to be etched in stone. I completely believe that these things can be changed. We can have a revolution by transforming consciousness, hopefully from the root, by changing the way that we see things. This is an opportunity for transformation. But, I think it's very much the same with what's happening with the climate. We keep hearing those messages, it's dire, it's serious. The glaciers are melting faster than we realize that they would, and on and on and on. And it's easy to just keep scrolling by and think, yeah, well, it's coming, but I don't know. Not a reality. But it very much is a reality. And it's a reality that's really hard to look at because there's a lot in there. But I think it's only when we look at it and feel it so much that it becomes personal, because it is, that we want to make a change, that we feel empowered to make a change. And that can be a very beautiful, beneficial thing that can connect us, that can create, in the ideal, world, that can help to create a global family of people from around the world who want to bring peace to this world, who want to come together in the name of unity and harmony and healing. We recognize that these so-called boundaries that we have between countries are actually an illusion. We are one people living on this earth with the same mother, the same body that we're living on. And so everything can be an invitation to have more of that unity, more of that awareness, that we need that unity. But it starts here, by honoring our own body, the earth in our own body, the waters in our own body, and transforming that, from the ground. So I think that that's what one thing that this practice can help with, if we choose to see it that way. For me, it's something that's been really, really powerful. And water itself is such a precious resource. There is definitely a major water crisis happening in the planet. there are so many billions of people who don't actually have access to clean water or proper sanitation, and on and on. And so when we really recognize the gift of water, we can live a little bit differently and be more mindful about how we consume it and how we relate to it. Because there's no guarantee that clean water will be available indefinitely, right? This precious resource is being very impacted by a lot of different pollutants, chemicals, plastics, runoff, all this different kind of stuff. So it's really important that we protect the water. And protecting the water, I think, means also protecting the water in our own body, in our own being. So one thing that came to mind as I was just reflecting on all of this is that, I was seeing a lot of people saying, oh, we're going back 50 years, before this happened. I thought, well, if we're going back 50 years, why don't we just go back 5,000 years, to a time when there was more of an awareness of our connection to the web of life, at a time when the feminine was more valued, because there was a time on this earth that the feminine was more valued, that there was more of an awareness. When you see all these beautiful different figurines of the goddess, how the goddess was very much revered front and center as a symbol of, fertility and nurturing and just that divine feminine that is existent in all of creation. There was more of an awareness of that thousands of years ago. So if we're going back 50 years, let's just go back thousands of years and harvest that wisdom, that knowledge of the feminine, and bring it forward. I was just thinking in terms of these timelines. Instead of seeing it as a disempowering thing that we've gone back, we'll just go even farther back and take that knowledge. I wanted to read you something about that I just think is really beautiful and speaks to what I'm talking about. This is a passage from Llewellyn Vaughan-Lee, who some of you know I've read from before. I really deeply respect and appreciate his wisdom. He's a Sufi teacher, and he talks a lot about the feminine and also about the earth, the connection, and I just really love the way he talks about it. So I just want to read this to you before we move on to the practice. He said, because humanity has a central function in the whole of creation, what we deny to ourselves, we deny to all of life. In denying the feminine her sacred power and purpose, we have impoverished life in ways we do not understand. We have denied life its sacred source of meaning and divine purpose, which was understood by the ancient priestesses. We may think that their fertility rites and other ceremonies belonged only to the need for procreation or a successful harvest. In our contemporary culture, we cannot understand how a deeper mystery was enacted, one that consciously connected life to its source in the inner worlds, a source that held the wholeness of life as an embodiment of the divine, allowing the wonder of the divine to be present in every moment. The days of the priestesses, their temples and ceremonies are over, and because the wisdom of the feminine was not written down, but transmitted orally, this sacred knowledge is lost. We cannot reclaim the past, but we can witness a world without her presence, a world which we exploit for greed and power, which we rape and pollute without real concern. And then we can begin the work of welcoming her back, of reconnecting with the divine that is at the core of creation, and learning once again how to work with the sacred principles of life. Without the intercession of the divine feminine, we will remain in this physical and spiritual wasteland we have created, passing on to our children a diseased and desecrated world. It's so powerful. There's so much in there. But at the end, he says, a world that is not connected to its soul cannot heal. Without the participation of the divine feminine, nothing new can be born. So there's a lot there. But I just wanted to mention that because just the notion of a time when there was this kind of culture of, priestesses where women held a very sacred role in society, where they were honored, where their wisdom was respected, where they held a certain knowledge. Those times have been gone. Have changed, but that is still that is changing for the positive. Somebody had mentioned, my friend Amber had mentioned something that I saw as well, that in Bhutan there was just an ordination of 100 and I forget how many, 30 or 40 nuns in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which was unheard of, because that tradition has tended to be more patriarchal and more male dominated, and it's not been easy for female nuns to become initiated to get that ordination. So for that to happen is an epic shift. And we see these things happening. Even my teacher Amma has initiated many female priestesses, which is something unheard of. Just a few months ago, she had there were 108 women who led pujas, rituals at Amma's ashram, and all the women were doing it. This is typically men are the ones who do this. So there is a shift happening. There is that return that is coming. That is, we can see that underneath the surface. And I think what we see going on with these troubles in the world, to me, are a reflection of the fact that there's a deep need for that spiritual sustenance of the feminine, which is in men and women. As I said, like, everybody is wounded by the lack of that honoring of the feminine, not just those in a female body or a male body or a non-binary body, whatever it is, everybody is affected by that. So our world is so thirsty for those feminine qualities, of cooperation, of unity, of harmony. That feminine wants to unite and join together. That feminine has those nourishing qualities, that patience and receptivity. All of those different things are so deeply needed. So water is so much an embodiment of that. She teaches us how to flow, how to move around obstacles, how to infiltrate, water herself is very receptive. There have been so many studies done about the power of water. When you speak to water or put music to water or tape a word to a glass of water, the water molecules change depending upon what it is. There have been so many studies done about this. And even we can find it in the field of cymatics, which looks at the form of sound, how sound assumes form in different substances. Water is one of them. So if we think about the fact that our body is 70% water, that's a pretty powerful thing. That sort of feminine quality of water makes us more than half of who we are. So there's a need to come back, to return to that, and stop polluting those waters inside with our thoughts, with our negative thoughts about ourselves, with our criticisms, with our harshness that we have towards ourselves. Think about that. We want the rivers of our own being to flow like beautiful, clear mountain streams. We don't want those waters to be dammed up or choking on, pollutants that are coming from our own negative thoughts about ourselves. And that takes practice, I think, because we're living in a world that is telling us over and over again what's wrong with us. So obviously, those beliefs start to, infiltrate our consciousness and infiltrate those waters. So when we come together in this way and we do this practice, it's an opportunity to cleanse those waters of our own being and therefore have an impact on the waters of the whole, because there's a connection, between them. Everything is connected, if we could only see that. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do this practice to honor the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, which is the longest day of the year, the moment when there is the most sunlight. Of course, we've tipped away from that now, so now the days are starting to get darker, and in the southern hemisphere, the days are slowly starting to get longer. And it's just interesting to see, how this happens. Just in these cycles, we can guarantee that whatever happens in life, the light will return, the light will recede, the light will return, the light will be balanced, and on and on and on. And that knowing, it really helps me personally to trust in the cycles of my own life. In those moments when it feels really dark, it feels like the light won't return. Maybe like right now, what we're seeing in this world, what we're seeing in this country where I live, it feels like this darkness. But we can trust. Looking at the summer solstice, we can know that the light returns. It's a guarantee. So we have to pass through maybe this period of darkness, but nature always works in cycles. So, and I think nature is a really powerful teacher and a powerful scripture that we can read to point us in the right direction. So, as much as I feel whatever emotions I feel, the anger, the despair, the sadness, I also feel trust in knowing that this is a moment that we can go deeper into ourselves, to honor ourselves, who we are more, our own sacredness more, the light within us more, and the light within the earth. That doing that can lead to a shift in consciousness greater than maybe what we would have otherwise. The pressure of difficult situation creates that diamond. So together we can help to do that together. It's more powerful together. So if you have your water, just have your water close by. And the way this ritual works is usually I like to lead just a little purification practice first, where we just become really centered and just clear, let go of whatever may be in the way of us being open and receptive. And then we will sing to the water a mantra. I always sing Om Namah Shivaya, which is a Sanskrit mantra. Shiva, there's many different ways to talk about Shiva, but in this instance, Shiva is the pure consciousness that underlies everything. And really, this water itself is pure consciousness. So when we sing to the water, we cleanse this water of any imprints that may be in it, so it becomes a glass of consciousness. Then once we have this clear water, like a blank piece of paper, we can write on that paper whatever it is that we want. We can infuse that with our own prayers, our own blessings and intentions for ourselves that we then imbibe, and as we take that into ourselves, it affects every cell of our body. Really trusting in that practice and knowing that when our visual cortex visualizes something in our brain, our body responds like it's actually happening. That's a really powerful thing. So we can do this practice and know that it has physiological benefits if we really open to it. So I really invite you to just have an open mind about it, because we can approach anything and receive something from it, or we can approach it and receive nothing from it. And the only difference is the way we approach it, what mindset we're in. Our mind is the determining factor. So that's why everybody here is going to have a different experience, based on what you're bringing to it. So it's an open field. Bring whatever you want, but my prayer, my hope is that we can all bring openness and give ourselves permission to receive blessings. That's the thing. A lot of times these things are available to us, these blessings that we may be wanting, but we don't either feel worthy of it or we don't give ourselves permission to receive that. So part of any ritual, I think, or any practice is giving ourselves that permission, that allowance. I allow myself to receive the blessings of this ritual. That's like the important foundation. So give that to yourself. Give yourself that permission right now to receive whatever your deepest longing is. So we're going to begin. And sorry, I haven't looked at the comments because I start to get, once I do, then I'm like gone. And then I feel torn because I want to be involved with everything you're saying. And then I feel like I might go off on a tangent. So thank you. I have so much deep love and gratitude to you. And honestly, it gives me hope in life, in the world, to know that you're all wanting to do this practice with me, that we're here together to do it. I don't have any words for it. It's so meaningful that we could all be doing anything right now, but we're choosing to do this, and that truly gives me hope at a moment when sometimes can feel hopeless, but it's never hopeless. When we come together, we realize, yes, we want to awaken, we want to be happy, we want to be free, we want a world that has peace and harmony and unity. So that's why we're here, because we want that. So I can't thank you enough. It really, really means a lot that we're all choosing to be here. Okay, so let's get started. So let go of everything I said. Just drop everything I said. And I could have said so many different things. Who knows what's ever going to come out, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is your own experience. And like I said, maybe in my summit session or something, I'm providing the map. And so we're all free to walk the trail how it feels true for you. So here's the map, and let's each walk it in our own way, whatever is true for you. So just be comfortable and be in a place, if you can, where you won't be disturbed for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, and let us do this practice for ourselves and for the water and for the feminine. So you don't need your water just yet. I always begin with this practice here. So let us all become present in this moment. If you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. It helps to bring your attention inside. But do whatever is comfortable for you. If anything ever feels uncomfortable or too much, always listen to yourself. Always stop, pause, open your eyes, connect with your body, whatever you need. Just make sure that you tune into that always. So let us feel ourselves connected from all around the world, here in the present moment for this practice. There are no rules. In any practice, it's a space of acceptance for whatever needs to come through. So whatever emotions you may be feeling, allow them to just move through you. That's what this time is for. It's a time where the rainstorm can come through, and anything that needs to move, anything that's been stuck, let it move through. So we're going to begin just by connecting with our body, this earth of our being. And I always like to start by just massaging your body a little, whatever way it feels right for you. Just connect to your physical form, because we really tend to forget that we have a physical body, but we do. And this physical body is the vehicle through which we can awaken and become more conscious and know more love. And often this body is not always that comfortable to be connected to, so it makes sense that we sometimes wander from it. But it's very kind to ourselves to come back to this form and just acknowledge its existence. So in any way that feels right to you, just feel your body in space right here. Now we're going to rub our hands together. Just rub your palms together. With anything that we do in any ritual, the key is to just do it with attention, mindfulness, and presence. And then it becomes a meditation. So generate that heat between your hands. Feel the energy, feel the heat. Feel that chi or that prana, that life force energy. And then pause. And you can pull your hands gently away from each other and just feel that energy there, that mysterious life force energy. And maintaining an awareness of that energy in your palms, we're just going to sweep our body 3 times. Imagine that you're just clearing any negative energy, anything heavy that you may be holding on to, just clearing it with your intention, with your hands, like you're sweeping it. All the way to your feet. And then when you're done, you can just shake that out, let that go. So feel the sense that you've just been standing under a waterfall, that you've just swept away any heaviness, anything that has been weighing on you. Feel lighter. We're going to do it one more time. Rub your hands together. Keep your mind and body connected. Pay attention to what you're doing. This is all that matters right now. This is the only thing that matters in this moment. Feel that heat and pull your hands apart and just feel that energy there. This is how we develop an awareness of our own sacredness, is to feel this mystery of these subtle energies that are always working within us. And after you feel that energy, you can just place your palms over your eyes. And just rest your eyes in your hands. Nothing to see, nothing to do. Just feel that you're just holding your eyes, holding yourself. And just breathe and rest. And then let that go. Just feel yourself sitting here, and let us make a connection to the earth. Whether you're sitting on a chair, on the floor, on a couch, it doesn't matter. Just become aware that the earth is supporting you. And see if you can feel and imagine like a cord, a grounding cord that is going through the base of your body down into the earth. And feel that you're connected to her. If you like, you can imagine that when you breathe in, your belly expands, that the earth expands. When you breathe out, the earth and your belly both collapse. And you just feel that you're breathing together. Now we're going to just take 3 breaths. And as you breathe in, you're just going to imagine that any thoughts that you don't want to carry into this ritual, anything that you want to let go of before we step into the next phase, we're just going to imagine that you're isolating that. Something I learned from one of my teachers, Shakti Durga. Isolate, and then we'll hold for a moment and exhale and release through our whole body. Just let that go. So breathe in. Anything that you don't want to carry forward, just isolate, hold, and then exhale through your whole body. Just release. Any judgments, preconceived notions about yourself or others or this practice, let's breathe in, isolate that. And then exhale and release it all through your whole body. And one last time, we're going to just breathe in and imagine that you're isolating any thoughts that are in the way of you receiving blessings, anything that is stopping you from giving yourself permission to be happy. Let us release that. So breathe in, isolate that, and then exhale and just release. And just feel yourself sitting right here in this space. And imagine that you are just sitting in your own energy, just with yourself. We tend to bring other people, other energies, whenever we go anywhere, do anything. Many different things are accompanying us. So for right now, just be here with you, for you. Imagine that all of us, if we could see our aura or our energy field, our subtle body, our biofield, whatever you want to call it, that we could imagine that it's clear. And we're going to move on to the next stage of this practice. You're going to just have your water close by. And we're going to sing the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. I honor, I bow to the light within, to the pure consciousness within me and within everything, within all. Om Namah Shivaya. So we start by just singing this mantra, and then we will sing it to the water, and we'll send this mantra into the waters of the world and into the waters of our own body. And of course, water has many forms. Tears are water. Ice is water. Rivers are water, oceans are water. There's many different forms of water, mist, fog, vapor, so many things. So we honor all of those different kinds of water, and you can allow your own waters to just flow in whatever way they need. So may we all become water and allow that hardness, that rigidness that we carry around so much to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves, to become softer, to flow. So you don't have to hold your water right now, but at some point I'll let you know when you can pick up your glass and we will sing directly into the water. And try to keep your attention focused inside. And let your mind and body be together.
Om Namah Shivaya, Hari 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Hari
You can sing with me, Om Namah Shivaya. Doesn't matter if you consider yourself a singer. Just sing the mantra. Feel the vibration of the sound. And just let your mind rest in the mantra.
Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Hari Om. Om Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Om.
So you can pick up your glass of water and just hold your water in your hand. And we're just going to sing now to the water. We're going to sing Om, just Om. So as you chant the sound of Om into your water, imagine that the molecules of this water are becoming coherent, finding this beautiful geometric pattern of harmony and peace. So imagine singing into this glass of water, clearing any imprints that may be in it. So take a nice breath. Again. Om let's imagine that we're sending all of our good energy and love to all the waters of the earth. That this water in our glass is like a microcosm for the whole. Imagining all the different waters of the earth, and just send your love and gratitude to the oceans, to the rivers, to the lakes, to the ponds, and to the marshes, to the glaciers and icebergs, to all the different forms of water that fill this earth in every crevice, the water that comes through our taps, the water in the wells that we drink. We just say thank you, thank you, thank you so much to this water for giving us life. And we sing to all the waters of the earth. Hari Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Hari Om. Turn your attention to the rivers in your own body, the waters in your body. We all came into this world from water. We were nourished by the waters of our mother. The blood of our mother nourished us. So we have our origins in water, and our body is made of water. So let us sing to the waters of our body. We just chant the sound of Om and imagine that that sound is purifying all the waters in our body so that they're clear, beautiful, flowing channels of water. So we'll take a breath in and chant Om to the waters within. Om. Purification. One last time. Take a breath in, hold, and then exhale through your whole body. And keep your attention in the inside. And you're going to hold your water glass now. So let us all bring our consciousness and presence into this glass of water. This beautiful water that has arrived in this glass for you today. You can just feel thank you so much. And let us begin by apologizing to this water. To this water in our glass, to the waters of the earth, to the waters of our own body. Let us just say, I am so sorry. I'm sorry that I have not treated you with respect. I haven't appreciated that you nourish me, that you give me life. And I'm sorry. Let us extend that genuine awareness and amends to the feminine, to the water of the feminine that moves through creation. I am sorry for not honoring and respecting you in the world and within myself. I want to see differently. I want to feel differently. I want to honor water. I want to stop polluting my own waters. I want to stop discarding my own feminine. I want to stop harming and neglecting the waters of this planet. So I make that choice now. And I say thank you so much. Thank you for bathing my body, for nourishing me, for hydrating me, for cleansing and purifying me. We think back through all the traditions through time that have used water as a cleansing, healing agent, and for ritual baths, mikvahs, and baptisms, for initiations of all kinds. Water has been there. So I just say thank you. Now let us become aware that as we have sang to this water with our intention, we have cleansed this water of any imprints, and now it is really a blank piece of paper, like pure consciousness, like a movie screen with nothing projected onto it, waiting for us to write whatever it is that we desire in this water. This water has given itself to us today for that. So before we tune in to what it is that each of us would like to imbibe from this water, let's just take a moment to give ourselves permission to receive that, to open the door. Because we can make all the intentions and affirmations that we want, but if we don't give ourselves permission to receive the benefit of that, it's planting soil and cement, planting seeds and cement. So we need to make that soil rich and ripe. So give yourself permission. to receive your own desires and longings for yourself, knowing that you are worthy of that your own happiness, your own peace is actually a benefit and a blessing to the whole. Now you can bring to mind, what is it? What is it that you are wanting, needing at this time? Maybe you have an image that comes into your awareness, maybe a word or phrase. Maybe it's a color. Maybe it's a prayer. Maybe it's just an energy of some kind that you feel. But whatever that is, let that rise up in your awareness and merge with that so that you really feel it, not just think it, but feel it in your whole body so that your whole body is vibrating, emanating whatever that may be. Maybe it's trust. Maybe it's love. Letting go. Thy will be done. Whatever it is. And when you're ready, you're going to imagine that you are filling this glass of water, every molecule of this water, with whatever it is that you are wishing and aspiring for. You can see that the molecules of the water are beginning to change so that they embody whatever that is, so that they emit that vibration of whatever that is. So if you're longing for trust, now you're not only holding a glass of pure consciousness, but you're holding a glass of trust. You're holding a glass of peace, of self-respect. Whatever it is, feel that this glass in your hands is full of that. And then when you're ready, when you really feel that energy of whatever it is that you want to place in this water, when you feel that it's really there, you can slowly begin to drink that water as a meditation. Feel that water coming into your body and feel that it's merging with all the waters of your body. Feel how this water, it goes into every cell of your whole body. So your whole body is feeling and experiencing this prayer for yourself. It's not an intellectual thing. It's a somatic thing. It's an energetic thing. This water is the conduit for that. Drink your own healing. Drink your own love. And see the power of your own mind, your own consciousness, and your own heart. That you can gift it to yourself. And as you drink it, as you do that, you can simultaneously just feel and think, thank you, thank you, thank you. And feel that gratitude for something as simple as this. It can be so healing. So keep your focus inside your body and imagine that all of the cells of your body are drinking in this intention. And we're just going to close with a little meditation on water. Let us learn from water. Let us learn from water how not to harden ourselves and contract against life, but to remain open, to remain soft. Soft is not weak. Receptive and open, and trusting in our own inner goodness, trusting in the sacredness of our being. It's not an intellectual idea. And I'm going to read you this beautiful passage from Margaret Atwood about water. Water does not resist. Water flows. When you plunge your hand into it, all you feel is a caress. Water is not a solid wall. It will not stop you. But water always goes where it wants to go, and nothing in the end can stand against it. Water is patient. Dripping water wears away a stone. Remember that, my child. Remember, you are half water. If you can't go through an obstacle, go around it. Water does. If you can't go through an obstacle, go around it. Water does. Feel the water of your own being. We all emerged and came from water. Water is within us. Water is without us. Water heals us. Water cleanses us. Water is fluid. We need to allow ourselves to be free like water, to let our tears flow, to let our emotions move through, to not become rigid and defend against life. To let life touch us so that we can touch one another, so that we can really be human beings. So feel your gratitude to water today. And let's all just make that promise to honor our own water, to be kind to ourselves, to be aware when we're polluting our own waters with negative thoughts and judgments. And let us honor that feminine, that sacred feminine, that water of the feminine that lives in all of us. Let's awaken that, no matter what gender. Let's awaken those qualities. Our world is out of balance and lacking them, so let us bring them out. Become more like water. Remember, my child, remember you are half water. If you can't go through an obstacle, go around it. water does. Let us end by chanting Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be peaceful and happy. We dedicate the merit from this session. Anything good that happened here, may the whole world and all beings benefit from it by some magic that our mind doesn't understand. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Thank you so much. Paras, thank you. Your water, you can continue to drink this water throughout the day and night. You can share this water with others if you want. You can offer some of this water to your plants or to the earth. Water, it's oh, my foot's asleep. So many different spiritual traditions, masters bless water. And, it's a really beautiful teaching about the power of water that is used in so many cultures in so many ways. So I just think it's a really nice thing for us to be able to bless our own water. And it doesn't even need to be complicated. You can have a glass of water by your bed when you wake up in the morning. You don't need to do a whole thing. Like these things, they don't need to be precious. They don't need to be a scene. It's like, it's a simple, quiet thing. It's like love, that's what I want today. I'm just going to take a moment. Just love is in this glass and I'm going to drink it. Simple, But I do that sometimes. I keep a glass of water by my bed and I wake up and I just take a second, just fill that glass with it. And I love the idea that when we do that intentionally, that the glass is becoming a glass of whatever it is that we're intending, a glass of love, a glass of trust. It's nice to do that and to feel the power of our own mind and intention for something like that. So thank you so much. There are so many different ways to do this ritual, and but I think connecting with water, going back to what the mamos, the shamans that I mentioned before, whom I've studied with, what they said about the way that we treat the feminine affecting the waters of the earth. It's a really powerful thing. There's obviously a deep connection there. So I think our world is so thirsty for those feminine qualities that, again, are not limited to any particular gender. They just are the qualities, in masculine and feminine qualities in this world. We're a little heavy on one end, a little heavy on logic, on the more masculine type of qualities that we see in the world, and we need more of the intuitive faculties of the feminine qualities of cooperation, harmony, patience, receptivity, nurturing, understanding, all of that is really needed. So let water be our teacher for that, one of many teachers that we could have. And I will share the different readings that I read in the circle in the next couple days, so you can reflect on them. There's so much, just hearing it once, it's like you just kind of barely take it in. At least for me, I've been thinking about these things all week, just reading them and reflecting on them. So thank you, as always, so much for being here, for your presence, and for your interest in doing this. It totally moves me and blows my mind, but it's become such a beautiful ritual to share here in the community on the app, that those of us who come together and these 4 times a year to do it, it's really special. And it's something that it's just very precious to me. So thank you. And thank you for your donations so very much. I don't know, thank you for your donations that you're always giving me when you listen to my music, when you attend the sessions. It means so much, and it helps me to keep creating music that I want to create. It can be expensive to create music, so your offerings really help. So thank you. And I'm going to be taking just a little break from doing live sessions for a little while, for the next month or 2 months, because I think I need a little balance. I've realized that, it's funny, I was doing the self-care summit, thinking about self-care, and then I realized I haven't been as good about it as I should be for my own self. My body has been giving me messages that things are not quite in alignment, things are out of balance, and so I need to slow down, and I need to just reevaluate, what it is I want to offer, so I can really do it in integrity, feel good about it, and feel more in balance with myself. So for sure, by this fall equinox, which is the time of balance, light and day, I will hopefully feel more balanced, so that I can continue to offer you the best of what I have. It's interesting. I have been doing these live sessions since the pandemic started, basically for the last 2 years, and I have really learned so much and grown so much, and I have you to thank for that. You've all really, really helped me grow as a facilitator, as a teacher, or whatever it is that I'm doing here, sharing my heart with you. I've really grown because of your presence here. And so I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. When I first started doing these, I was so terrified, because I don't like to be in front of people very much, even though my work seems to put me there. It's scary for me sometimes. So it's been like a process of learning to just be at ease within my own self, to be here in my living room. Like, the vulnerability of that has been a journey, and it continues to be. But I'm so grateful to you, because I've really grown thanks to you, thanks to your presence. And I hope I will always continue to keep growing, as growing into myself, growing into what I do, and learning how to do it better. So, yeah, just thank you. It means the world to me. And I think some of you know that this has been a year of just a lot of loss. I've lost some very, very precious people to me. My friend Charlie, who died, who was my guitar player for 10 years. And my best friend has been dying of a brain tumor for the last many months, and she's been unable to talk or walk for the last 6 months. And so it's been very difficult, just traveling to be with her. She lives a few hours away, and, the process that I've been going through, and that slow letting go of this person who was a part of my life every day, has been hard. Loss is a part of life. We all go through it, and I've been having a little crash course this past year. So that's another reason why I just wanted to take a little time because if I don't take the time to do the grieving and to actually like be with those losses, then I might plow over it and it will come back later. So that I need to carve out a little bit of time for that and walk my friend to the end of her journey. So I just saw her the day before yesterday, and it's hard. It's hard to sit with someone for 6 hours when you don't know whether or not they're hearing you or understanding you or what's happening within them. Many people have gone through this kind of thing, but it's definitely, a learning experience. And I trust that just being with another person in love, in presence, has a beneficial effect. I'm sure on some level she can feel that I'm there with her. But it's heartbreaking too. I took all of her clothes home because she won't be wearing them anymore. So I've been going through her clothes the last 2 days, and it's been tough. So anyway, that's what I'm going through, and so I'm just sharing that with you because that's why I wanted to just take a little bit of time and just really get clear about how to do the best sessions that I can, how to do whatever I can best here with all of you. And so I'm not going anywhere, but I'm just taking a little pause. And thank you for understanding so much. I'll still be doing one-to-one mentoring sessions. If any of you want one, you can just send me a message. And for sure, I'll be in my circle as well. And I will be back by the fall equinox, if not before. So we will see what this next cycle brings. But for me, my theme, my words, are balance, healing, and balance. Those are the words that I'm working with. So anyway, thank you. Again, I'll miss you. I always miss you. I always so much look forward to this time when we get to be together. And it's such a gift to me. And please, let's all take good care of ourselves. And let's not underestimate the effect of the challenges that our world is going through. We all feel them. We all have our own personal challenges, and then those are coupled by the collective challenges that we're facing in the world. And so let us just be kind to ourselves and treat ourselves with love and respect. With that, we can do anything. And when we come together, that power is amplified. So I have some new songs that I've been working on for the last many months, and I'm going to release at least one of them in the next month or two, so you can look out for that. And thank you again so much. Really appreciate you all, and enjoy your water, and be good to your own waters. So I'll see you whenever, whenever I'm back. Thank you for your words. Thank you for everything. Lots of love. Yeah. Let's all do that recharge in whatever way we need.